Sweet Home Alabama is a song written, feels like 69, feels like 69. Anyway, it's Linrid Skynrid. Anyway, if you can pronounce that, I can't. Sweet Home Alabama is a pretty classic song from around 1970. You can look it up yourself. Bass, bass, flam. Flam is with the little thing before the crotchet note there. Bass, bass, flam on snare. Bass, bass, flam. Repeated that bar. Then you got, oh yeah, by the way, it's pop. It's country rock, actually. But it's called pop here, which is like trying to, you can argue the case either way, but basically I'm going to call it country rock, but here it's called pop. The crotchet is set at 98 beats per minute. That's fine. Crash, bass, bass, snare, hat. All the hats are in quavers or eighth notes. The two lines or one tail means quaver or eighth notes. Two tails, which we have here, is a semi-quaver or 16th note bass drum. And that's smack in between the fourth and the fifth bass drum. Bass, bass, snare, but bass, bass, snare. More of the same with an open hat there, closes there. Again, more of the same, more of the same. Bass, bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, Andy, semi-quaver snare, crash, bass, and that's a side click called cross stick in drumming land terminology. Bass, bass, click, bass, bass, click. Repeated that again. Bass, bass, click, bass, bass, click, open, close, bass, click. The same bar again and again. Bass, bass, click. One, and here you got the semiquavers and a quaver on tom 1, 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and bass, bass, crash, hat, bass, bass, snare, hat. And always follow the vertical rule. Of course, just to reinforce, the way you read music is you don't read horizontally or diagonally. You read vertically. The top and the bottom are connected. They really are connected. These notes are together, so you really do them together. Music, when you hear it, is all about time. When you see it on paper, it's space. So you could think of it as time and space. Bass, bass, snare, bass, hat, bass, da-e, or 4E, semi-quaver and a quaver, and the dot after the quaver means that you do, or you hold it for another half a note. The dot means hold for a half a note. Bass, bass, snare, more of the same, kind of continues, and that's the same note there. Crash, bass on the right, snare, bass. Those two bass drums are together. There's a couple of ways you can write that. You can write them as straight semiquavers, but they've got the semiquaver with the snare and the bass as a quaver, but because the snare is written as a semiquaver, the bass drum exists shortly after. Then you got bass, bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass, 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 snare, bass, bass, 4E again. 4E, that's probably the hardest bit of the whole song. It happens here, 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 then back to what we just did before, which is this stuff here. Bass, bass, click, bass, bass, click. And then you've got another fill, so more of the same that you did previously. Bass, bass, click, 3E and a 4E. So 3E and a 4E and, pardon me. This time you hit the floor, not tom 1. Then you're on the right, bass, bass, crash, snare. Similar to that. And then you got the same musical 4E, 4 Andy, which we've done previous here. And then here again, 4E. And then on the right, bass, bass, snare, ding, bass, bass, snare, right, bass, flam, 1, 1, floor, crash, crash, crash. That's a crotchet rest. That's a minim rest. And this is how it sounds.
Sweet Home Alabama. 1, 2, 3, 4.